Okay, we're going to go over the 15.2 and 15.3 notes today. And first of all, these are all about triangles here, special types of triangles. So we have two different types of triangles here. We have the isosceles triangle, and the definition of an isosceles triangle is a triangle that has two congruent, remember equal sign with the little squiggle on top means congruent, sides. Congruent means equal in length. So basically we have two sides that are equal in length. We call those the legs. And then we have the side that's not necessarily congruent to these two, and that's called the base. Okay. So this property basically says that if you have two legs that are congruent, that means two sides of the triangle that are congruent, then you have two base angles that are also congruent. So if these are the same, slide it down, those are the angles that are the same. See how if you slide this up, it's only one angle? You want to slide it down to where there's two angles. So you have legs that are congruent, and you have base angles that are also congruent. Okay? So two sides that are equal, two angles that are equal. All right, and then the other one we have is called an equilateral triangle. Equilateral means that they're going to have all three sides that are equal, so three congruent sides. So we're going to mark that in the picture. So to mark that to mark that the sides are congruent, we're going to go ahead and put one mark, just long as these have the same number of marks. If you do two you have to do two and two here. And then the property for this is if you happen to have three sides that are equal, or three sides that are congruent, then you're going to have three angles that are also congruent. So to show that the angles are congruent, we're going to draw a little arc here. So as long as it has one arc. So sometimes you'll just see one arc. You can have two arcs, two arcs, two arcs, or sometimes you'll see this with one mark here like that instead. That also shows congruency. Okay? So if three sides are equal, you have three angles that are equal. If you have two legs that are equal, two sides that are equal, then you have two angles that are equal, which are the base angles. All right, let's use that information to solve for some of these values of x. So first of all here, let's take a look. Oh, there are two congruent angles. So if there are two congruent angles, that means there's two sides that are congruent. So which would x go with? Would x go with the 8 or the 10? If you can, and you visualize the two that are equal, that means that if you fold it in half right on top of each other, and I'm going to draw kind of this dashed line down the middle, and see if you could fold that on top of this side. That's what equals. So the 8 would be the one that's x. It's right on top of that x. All right, let's try this one right here. All right, we have three angles that are equal. So if you have three angles that are equal, guess how many sides you have also equal? 3. 3 angles equal, 3 sides equal. So if that's 16, that means this is congruent to this, which is congruent to this. They're all three the same. So both x and y are both 16. Okay. On this next one right here, we have to find AC. What's the length from A to C? Now notice there are only two angles that are equal. So if I have two angles equal, that means I have two sides only that are equal. So we have some extra information that we don't need. Which are the two sides that are equal to each other? See how these are the two that are the same? So split it down the middle of those two. Okay, so fold it in half this way. So what's going to be on top of each other? These two are on top of each other. This we don't even need. That has nothing to do with any of this. It's just these two. Split it down between the two. All right, so that means that this should fold on top of that, which means these should be equal to each other. So we're going to create an equation that shows that they're equal to each other. So let's go ahead and set it up. Let me scoot this over a little bit here. So we have this 2x minus 1 should equal the x plus 7. Okay, let's go ahead and get my x's on one side of the equal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the x. That leaves me with x minus 1 equals 7. And the last step is to add 1. So x equals 8. But it's not asking for x, it's asking for the length of AC. Now, AC is this side right here. So I'm going to plug this x into this side length. So it's 8 plus 7, and that gets us 15. So 15 is the length of AC. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and keep going with these ones. All right, now this doesn't show me angles, these show me sides. Notice angles have arcs in the corners. These all had arcs in corners. This has little marks on the sides. So if you have marks on the sides, that means sides are equal. All right, let's take a look at this here. So this first one, I have 2 marks that are 1 and 1. That means it's isosceles. That's the one where you split it in half. So if that's on top of this, then think of this as being folding over across this line here. Okay. So if you fold it over right here, then you know that this 46 will end up folding up to the top here. So that is 46, this must be 46. Okay. So now, if I want to find angle C, I know it looks almost like 90, you can't just guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve an equation. If that's 46 and that's 46 and I'm solving for one more missing angle, I'll make this, let's say, x. Okay? I'll make this x because I don't know what that is and I want to solve for it. But do you know what all 3 angles of a triangle add up together to be? They all add up together to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to make an equation out of that. X plus 46 plus the other 46, all 3 of those should add up together to be 180. All right, let's add these together. 46 and 46 make 92. And then to get my x by itself, I have to subtract the 92. So x is going to equal 88. All right, is x what I'm really looking for? Yes, angle C, I made x, and that is 88. All right, let's take a look at this next one. The next one has 3 marks that are equal. All 3 sides are equal. Well, if all 3 sides are equal, all the angles are equal to each other. So this angle right here is equal to that, which is equal to that. Now, I want just the angle B. Well, it doesn't have any numbers here. But aren't all 3 the same? So if I make this worth x, then this is x, and so is this. All 3 angles are really x. And I know that all 3 angles add up to 180. So x plus x plus x is 3x, and that equals 180. To get x by itself, I'm going to divide by 3. And we get x equals 60. So each one of those angles are 60 degrees. And angle B is x, which is 60 degrees. All right, and then this last one over here is solving for what is measurement of angle C. Well, I don't have a number there. Does this fold on top of that? Where does it fold? If you notice, the 2 that are the same are these 2 sides. This side is equal to that side. So where does it split? In the middle of those 2 sides. I should have this kind of think of this split right there. So this folds onto that side. So since I know it folds there, this angle should be equal to this angle. Those should be equal to each other. That's what folds in half. Since I'm solving for C and there's nothing there, I'll make that x. That makes this x as well because they're equal. What do all 3 angles of a triangle add up together to be? 180. So x plus x is 2x plus the 72 here equals 180 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and get the x by itself. Your first step, subtract the 72. So we get 2x equals 108. And the last step is to divide by 2 here. And so x is going to equal 54. And that's exactly what I want. Angle C, which is x, and x is 54 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and do this last row here. So what's the measurement of angle A? Well, angle A is here. All right, I don't have any other angle measures, but I do notice that all 3 sides are the same. if all the sides are equal in length, and I'll go ahead and mark that by showing one mark and one mark and one mark. If all three are the same, that means all three angles are the same. 3 equal sides mean 3 equal angles. And I'm solving for angle A. Well, if they're all the same, that would be x, and that would be x. So x plus x plus x, 3x, should equal 180. Remember that all three angles of a triangle add up to 180. Dividing by 3 gets you 60 degrees. So each one of these are 60 degrees. All right, let's take a look at this one. I have 2 marks right here already in the picture. So how is this going to fold over? I'm going to fold it over right between the 2 marks, so we can see what folds onto itself. Okay, if that folds over, and I don't know what this angle is, it should fold over right onto this one here. Since this is 3x plus 3, that means this little corner angle needs to also be 3x plus 3. Okay? All 3 angles should add up to what? 180. So we're going to make an equation out of this. What's 3x plus 5x? That's a total of 11x. 3 plus 3 minus 2 gets us 4, and that should all add up to 180 degrees. So to solve for x, I'm going to subtract 4 first. So we get 11x equals 176, and then divide by 11, and x equals 16. Now, is that what I want, x? No, that's not what I want. I want angle P. Angle P is right here. So if I want angle P, I need to plug in the x into this right here. So I'm going to show that work right here. It's 3 times x, and x is 16. That's what we found x to be, plus 3. So 3 times 16 is 48. Adding 3 gets us 51 degrees. And that's what angle P is, 51 degrees. All right, and then this last one over here, we have to solve for both x and y. Now, if you notice, the y is inside here, and then there's an x right here. So we're going to have to first figure out one of these. Well, I do notice I have 2 marks. Always look for the marks or look for the angles that are equal. Here in this case, I have these 2 that are equal to each other, so where should I fold? I should fold it right in between the 2. So if this folds, oh look, 52 would fold right on top of the y. So this must also be 52 degrees. So I know it says to solve for x and y. You don't have to solve for x first. Actually, you can't even solve for x first until you solve for y. Now I know all 3 angles add up to what? 180 degrees. So let's add it up. This is the only x here I have, 14x, plus 6 plus 52 plus 52. That's a total of 110. And that should all add up to 180. All 3 angles add up to 180. All right, to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract the 110. So we get 14x equals 70. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 14. And that gets me x equals 5. Is x what I want? Yep, that's asking for x. So x is 5. All right, let's go ahead and turn the back side. This is now 15.3. So in 15.3, if you want to find out what a third side is, then you're going to have to make some sort of triangle. So for example, if I want to make a triangle, and let's say I want to make it so that all 3 sides are a certain length, you can make a triangle, but you can't just make any length that you want. Like for example, let's say I want to take this. Let me take this away real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's say, for example, I say I want to make a triangle out of these 3 segments. Oh, hold on a second. All right, so let's say I want to make a triangle out of these 3 segments. I'm like, okay, let me put them together. Well, this can go in that corner, and this can go, wait a minute, that's not long enough. These can't reach. I can make it go as far down as I can to try to make it reach to make a triangle. It's not going to work. So you can't make a triangle with any three lengths. The only way this works is if this length right here ends up making it so that this can actually eventually touch. That means that it has to be a certain length. Okay? I can't just have any length. It has to be a certain length. And basically what's going to happen is these two sides, when you add them together, make this length, the length of these two has to be bigger than the third side. If you add the two short sides, it has to be bigger than the third. Otherwise, they won't ever reach. So it also cannot equal, because if it equals, that means it's exactly the same length, and you can't make a triangle when it's straight across, right? If I say I'm going to cut this right here, it won't make a triangle unless this raises up and has to be longer than, these two have to be longer than that third. In order for this to go even higher, it has to be even longer. So like that, let's say. That would make a triangle. But adding these two has to be bigger than the third, okay? That's the whole idea of it. So this theorem says if you find the sum, add any two side lengths, it has to be greater than, bigger than the third side. Okay? So if you add any two, it has to be bigger than the third. Well, if you add the longest side with any of the other, it's going to be bigger than the third for sure. So my shortcut is to determine if a triangle is possible, is basically I'm just going to have you add the two shortest, and then it has to be bigger than the third. Add the two shortest, and it must be bigger. Oh, did I spell bigger? Bigger than the third. Okay. Add the two shortest, and it must be bigger than the third. Can't equal, it has to be bigger. All right, let's go ahead and check out the first example here. Okay, so to find the range of possible values for x using the triangle M theorem here, we're going to determine whether, oh no, I think I missed putting some problems in here. All right, we're going to have to put in some examples in here and draw it out or write it out. So here's an example. So let's say a triangle has the lengths 4, 10, and 8. Can that make a triangle? Okay, can it make a triangle? Let's figure it out. Add the two shortest sides, right here, are the two shortest, which is 4 and 8. 4 plus 8 has to be bigger, so I'm going to go greater than the third side 10. The two smallest angle has to add up to be bigger than that third side. Well, 4 plus 8, that's 12, and is 12 bigger than 10? And the answer is yes, it is bigger. Okay. Let's do another example. So let's say I have the lengths 18, 9, and 7. Okay? We have to add the two smallest, and it has to be bigger than the third. What are my two smallest sides? 9 and 7. So let's add that together. Is 9 plus 7 bigger than the third side, 18? Well, 9 plus 7, that's 16. Is 16 bigger than 18? And the answer is no. So you cannot make a triangle with those three lengths. All right, let's try one more. And you could try this on your own, and then pause. I'll have you pause the video and see if you get it right. All right, let's try 17, 12, and 4. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and see if you get it right. All right, let's see if you got it right. So we should add the two smallest, which is 12 and 4. Is 12 plus 4 bigger than 17? 12 plus 4 is 16, and is 16 bigger than 17? And the answer is no. Okay, it always has to be bigger for you to say yes. All right, next part is to determine the range. So if I know two sides, what could that third side possibly be? What values of x? So what we're going to do is to get the smaller number, we're going to subtract the numbers. And that will be the lower number. We'll write less than x, less than. And then what you're going to do to get the other values, you're going to add the numbers. I'll put an S here. Okay? So we'll subtract the numbers to get the smaller number. You shouldn't get a negative number, though. You can't have negative x values. And then we'll add the numbers to get the larger. All the x values that are in between that could be as the value that would work for a triangle. So let's go ahead and find the range of possible x values using the triangle inequality theorem. Here we go. So we're going to take these two numbers, and to get the smaller number, we're going to subtract 21 minus 14, and then that'll be less than x, less than, and then we're going to add the numbers, 21 plus 14. Subtract for the smaller, add for the larger. 21 minus 14 gets you 7. And that's less than x, less than. 21 plus 14 is 35. And this is our range of values that x could possibly be. X could be any value between 7 and 35. It cannot equal 7 and it cannot equal 35. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Here we go. We're taking the two numbers, subtract to get the smaller number. 18 minus 9. Less than x, less than, and to get the larger number, we're going to add the numbers, 18 plus 9. All right, 18 minus 9 is 9, less than x, less than. 18 plus 9 is 27. So the range of values that x could possibly be is between 9 and 27. All right, you should try this one on your own and then pause it, see if you get it right. Okay, let's see if you got it right. So we're going to take the two numbers, we're going to subtract 15 minus 15 to get the smaller number, less than x, less than, and then you should do 15 plus 15. Well, 15 minus 15 is 0, less than x, less than. 15 plus 15 is 30. So this is your range of values. All right, let's take a look at our side angle relationship. So basically this says that if two sides of a triangle are not congruent, so that means it's not equal to each other, okay? These two sides are not equal to each other, then the larger angle is opposite the longer side. So whichever is the longest, well, whichever is the largest angle will be opposite the longer side. So see how this angle B is the largest angle out of these three? That's a small angle, that's small angles. This actually looks like more than 90. So this angle is the largest angle, and that's opposite the longest side. This is the side that's the longest. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look. If two angles of a triangle are not congruent, then the longer side is opposite the larger angle. So this says if the two angles are not equal, the longer side, so here this is the longest side here, is opposite of the largest angle. So it's kind of backwards of this one. Okay? So this is the largest angle opposite the longest side. This one says the longer side is opposite the largest angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out and see what is the order of the angle measures. So we're going to order these angles from least to greatest. So we're going to look at the three numbers and find the least number first. 15 is the least value. To figure out the angle that goes with, it's all the way across from that. Or you can even cover this up. These are connected to 15, so cover it up. What's the only angle? Angle A. So angle A is the least value. All right, what's the second least between these two? And that would be angle, or that would be 32. That's less than 40. And what is that across from? So it's across from angle B. Kind of cover this up. See, angle B is the only side there. So angle B would be next, which means the largest here, which is 40, is across from angle C. If you cover up 40, you can see that the only angle left is C. That's the order from least to greatest. Okay. Go ahead and try the next one on your own. Pause it. See if you get it right. All right, let's see if you got it right. So we're going to look at the three numbers and figure out which is the smallest number. 7 is the smallest. What is 7 across from? Angle B. So angle B should be the smallest angle. If you cover it up, you can even see that angle B is the smallest. All right, what's the next smallest? The next smallest between 25 and 24 is 24. That's the next smallest. And that is across from angle C. If you cover up this segment, you have C. And then the largest angle, which is across from 25, since that's the longest side, is angle A. And that's the order from least to greatest. So make sure that you pay attention. This is actually ordering the angles. You should have angle symbols in front of each of those letters. This next one says, order the side lengths from least to greatest. Remember, you need 2 letters to name a side. Okay, it's a side that we're naming. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the angles. Oh, I'm missing an angle. I actually need all 3 angles to figure it out. So how do you find this missing angle? Remember, all 3 angles add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to have to do that work first. So let's go ahead and figure out this missing angle. So 180 minus what's used up. I have a 30 and a 50. 30 plus 50 is 80. That means that this missing angle is 100 degrees. You have to do that first. Now that you have all 3, we're going from least to greatest. So which one is the least value out of these 3? That's 30. So we're going to go across 30 to name the side. So 30, if I cover that up, what's my 2 letters to name the side? You can say CB or you can say BC. It doesn't matter which order. But that's going to be the shortest side because it's across from the smallest angle. Okay. All right, the next one is going to be the second to the smallest, and that will happen to be 50. That's smaller than 100. So the value that we're going to use is 50, and across from that is the side. So angle C, cover it up. What's my letters? AB. I want to use 2 letters. AB is the side that it's across from. Don't forget the line on top to say that's a segment. So now we have to put the largest value, and the largest value is going to be the 100. Across from that is the side that's the longest, and if you cover up B, the 2 letters you have is AC. Okay. So remember, this is side length, so you should be using 2 letters for that. All right, let's try this next one. Again, we have 2 angles only, so I have to find the 3rd angle. So let's go ahead and do that first. So 180 degrees minus 70 and 65 make 135. If you subtract that, you get 45 degrees. All right, so 45 degrees is the angle up here. Now that I know all 3, I'm going to go ahead and solve for the order. Remember, you start with the least. The least out of these 3 values is 45. So look for what's across from that. Cover it up. What are my 2 letters? AB. AB is the side that's across angle C. All right, let's go ahead and find the middleman, which is 65. That is the value that's across from AC. Again, if you said CA, it's also correct. All right, that means my last side is the one across from 70. That's the longest side, and that will be CB or BC. And that's from least to greatest. Go ahead and try this last one on your own. And if you are done with that, then check to see if you got it right. Okay, let's check to see if you got it right. So we need to find a missing angle. So 180 minus 90 and 30 make a 120, and that means 60 degrees is this corner angle. All right, let's go ahead and start with the smallest value. 30 is the smallest. Across from that, AC. The next one is angle 60. Across from that BC. That means the longest side is across from the 90 degrees. It's actually the hypotenuse. Cover that up, AB. And that's the order from least to greatest. Okay, hopefully you got it right. All right, your homework is on My H or W.